Today, we're doing something a little bit different and honestly incredibly fun. We're going to treat Jane Austen's classic setting of Highbury Society like a modern corporate ecosystem. Now, you might be wondering, why do that? Well, because it is the absolute perfect framework to learn why unsolicited consulting in other people's lives, no matter how well-intentioned it might be, almost always backfires.
I mean, just think about it. Have you ever had a colleague who tried to completely fix your life? We've all encountered that well-meaning but totally misguided project manager who thinks they know exactly what's best for your career, your relationships, your whole shebang. Today's case study focuses on the ultimate historical example of this phenomenon, basically proving that office politics and social meddling haven't changed one bit in 200 years. All right, let's actually kick this off with the number 21. That is exactly how many years our protagonist, Emma Woodhouse, has lived in absolute comfort. The source text explicitly tells us she has lived nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her. She is essentially acting as the unchallenged CEO of her estate, Hartfield. You see, her father is highly indulgent, her former governess was more of a compliant friend, and she has literally no board of directors to hold her accountable. She is entirely used to getting her own way. So, here is our masterclass overview. We'll start with the Highbury social hierarchy. Move on to Emma, the well-meaning meddler, look at Project Harriet as a case study, explore the consequences of interference, and wrap up with lessons in unsolicited advice. Okay, part 1, the Highbury social hierarchies. Think of this as a quick tutorial for the busy professional on how to navigate a very rigid social ladder. Because to understand Emma's strategy, you really have to understand the strict etiquette of the society. It operates exactly like a strict corporate organizational chart, where everyone absolutely knows their place and cross-departmental fraternization is, well, heavily scrutinized. Up in the top tier, the board, you have the Woodhouses, demanding compliance and setting the tone, alongside Mr. Knightley, a sensible landowner who actually understands the weight of his position. Then, in middle management, you have the rising class, the Coles, building wealth and trade, and the ambitious vicar, Mr. Elton. Down in the front line, the yeomanry, you have hardworking folks like the farmer, Robert Martin. Now, to Emma, the CEO, someone like Robert Martin is considered strictly below management notice. Moving on to part 2, Emma, the well-meaning meddler. Being the smartest person in the room for 21 years has given our lead executive some pretty dangerous professional blind spots when it comes to her own boundaries. This creates what we can call the CEO bubble. The source explicitly points out Emma's fatal flaw, writing that the real evils of her situation were the power of having rather too much her own way and a disposition to think a little too well of herself. She exists in this massive echo chamber where she believes her judgment is completely infallible, and her new corporate mandate? Matchmaking. She eagerly takes credit for manufacturing the recent marriage of her former governess to Mr. Weston. But Mr. Knightley, acting as the grounded, realistic board member, steps in to deliver a rather harsh but necessary performance review. He tells her point blank, "Success supposes endeavor. You made a lucky guess, and that is all that can be said." He's reminding her she merely thought about it one idle day. She didn't actually execute a strategy. But Emma, deep in her bubble, completely ignores this. Which brings us to part 3, Project Harriet, a case study. Despite Knightley's incredibly clear warnings, Emma just dives right into a new, unsolicited consulting gig. She finds a young, impressionable girl with no visible social standing named Harriet and decides to completely rebrand her. Emma rolls out an aggressive 3-step action plan to artificially inflate Harriet's social status. Step 1, detach Harriet from her old, unpolished friends. Step 2, form her manners and elevate her opinions. Step 3, match her with the upwardly mobile vicar, Mr. Elton. Notice what's missing here. Emma is entirely ignoring what her subordinate, Harriet, might actually need or want for long-term happiness. It is a textbook case of a manager pushing their own KPIs onto an employee. This bias is super obvious when we compare how they assess Harriet's highly practical suitor, Robert Martin. The crazy thing is, Harriet actually likes Robert, but Emma's elite bias completely clouds her strategic judgment. She looks at Robert and sees an unpolished, coarse farmer, simply because he is frontline staff. Mr. Knightley, who actually evaluates merit, views him as a respectable, open-hearted, clever man. Emma literally forces Harriet to reject Robert's very sensible proposal, creating a massive liability for Harriet's future. All right, part 4, the consequences of interference. Any busy executive knows that a bad strategy leads to a disastrous ROI. You just cannot forcefully reorganize people's lives and expect a smooth quarterly earnings report. Emma's meddling spectacularly backfires, and the project rapidly unravels. First, Emma misinterprets a simple charade puzzle, totally convinced Mr. Elton is writing love riddles for Harriet when he's actually aiming at Emma's wealth. Then comes the shockingly awkward carriage ride confession. Emboldened by Emma's constant attention, middle management Mr. Elton reveals he actually wants to marry the CEO, Emma herself. When she clarifies he was supposed to marry Harriet, we hit the cold rejection. Elton is deeply offended at being paired with a subordinate. He leaves town in a huff, only to return quickly with a rapid new hire, a wife.
As direct karma for her micromanagement, Emma rejects Elton and is soon forced to deal with the reality of his new wife, Mrs. Elton. She is vain and self-important. She is presuming and familiar. I mean, she actually has the audacity to call Mr. Knightley just Knightley to his face. No way, right? She is ignorant, ill-bred, and aggressively tries to network with everyone, attempting to manage other people's lives just like Emma did. Mrs. Elton is essentially Emma's own worst traits, stripped of any charm and reflected right back at her.
And finally, Part 5, Lessons in Unsolicited Advice.
So, what does this all mean for us? We've walked through this 19th century PR disaster, but what should you take away from this for your own professional network and personal life? Well, Mr. Knightley delivers the absolute ultimate takeaway here, stating, a straightforward, open-hearted man and a rational, unaffected woman may be safely left to manage their own concerns. He is reminding us and Emma that capable adults must be trusted to manage their own affairs, their own relationships, and their own careers without our heavy-handed interference. You do far more harm than good when you try to play puppet master.
I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to evaluate your own leadership style. If your friends and colleagues were a project, are you actually supporting them, or are you just micromanaging their lives for your own amusement? Look, nobody wants to be the executive who accidentally ruins the whole company culture. Trust your team, offer advice only when asked, and whatever you do, beware the CEO bubble.